What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Nate's Road Life. So, we're standing in the camper. This is actually the bedroom to our camper. Uh, as you can see, we've got some problems here. So, yesterday, I came in here and tore the bed out and the floor, the carpeting in here. This is all carpet. I tore the carpeting out. My wife wanted me to put some, like that composite planking in here, just to change it up a little bit. And the carpet was starting to get kind of tracked down and whatnot, so we are just going to replace it. Well, when I started doing that, I tore up the carpet here, replaced it, and then I noticed back here underneath where the bed was, the carpet looked kind of nasty. And so I started exploring a little bit, and next thing I know, I found where water had been leaking in, and mold started growing, and the slide here, and the whole 9 yards. Is bad, bad deal. I'll put a picture of that in here right quick. So as you can see, it was pretty bad, especially over in this area right here. I mean, it was over here too, but mainly over here. So last night I tore out the walls and ceiling, to inspect and see where I could find out where the water was leaking in at. And it was actually seems to be have leaking in down at the bottom, actually, not like from the roof or the windows, mainly from the bottom down here. So tore all that out. I wasn't going to record any of this because I was just replacing the floor, and I kind of thought, well, that's kind of stupid. Nobody really wants to watch that. But hindsight's 2020. Should have been recording this. It would have been an interesting thing to see. It wasn't so interesting to do, but would have been interesting to watch. Anyway, so I thought, well, here we are now. The demo is already done. Now we're going to go back in and repair it all. But you guys can see that. Not much to demo. You're just tearing everything out. Uh, I just took a pry bar and pried it, tore all the stuff out, took the screws out, whatever, wasn't a whole lot. We can go over all that though and show you guys exactly what was secured where. Um, anyway, actually, let's do that right now. We'll walk around. I'll show you the outside. We'll talk about how everything was secured, and then we'll get to fixing this because I'm kind of on a time crunch. We've actually got to get ready to jet to the next job. So let's check it out. So anyway, these walls here, that was just paneling. These are aluminum studs, right? This was just paneling. They had a little bit of fiberglass insulation. It was pretty raggedy, really. But had a little bit of fiberglass like batten insulation in these spots. And then it was just paneling put over the top of it that was glued to the uh, aluminum studs, if you will. And yeah, had some nails in it, some small nails. Probably see that, these little bitty nails right here. It's like they glued it and then put the nails in, and hold. Same thing on the ceiling, same stuff up there. This wall here, being the exterior, you can see where I started tearing into it, and then realized that that exterior wall, I guess it's a whole different system. But I did inspect it from the bottom side once I dropped this floor out right here, and there's no damage to that wall, so I'm not concerned with it. We're just going to put a new piece of paneling up over this paneling to cover that, call it a day. This floor section here is just a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. In fact, you can see it right here where the air compressor is down there on the ground. You can see all that mold right there on it, and over here it's real nasty. It was real soft. You could take a screwdriver and just push into it. It was nothing. Tore that out. That was secured to this here, that little, I don't even know what it's just aluminum, like a stud basically. It was secured to that from the bottom with deck screws. Same thing over here. And then same thing along this wall right here. There's another piece of that aluminum, like box beam kind of running right across there. It was secured up through there with deck screws. And then there's just a piece of plastic on the bottom of it. And then on this corner over here where this vertical wall meets that, there's a piece of angle iron on the outside. And that's where the problem was. Water came down, got behind that angle iron, ran out into the floor. Same thing on this side. I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. It's a really crappy design. So anyway, let's go outside and get ready. First things first, we're going to cut us a new piece of plywood, get that all prepped up, ready to rock and roll, get that installed, and hopefully we can get this project going. We need to have this done tonight probably, so this might be a late night. We'll see. All right, guys, we're back outside here. Got us a piece of plywood. We went over and measured that one, the moldy one that I showed you. The measurement on it is 32.5 by 80 1/8. If you guys hear some stuff in the background, I'm filming in front of a live audience today. You know, got a 2-year-old and her gam wanted to watch this film. So anyway, here we are. So the first thing to do in a carpentry project, obviously you need your normal carpentry tools: square, pencil, tape measure. You got to look cool. That's the most important part. So you take the pencil, stick it in your ear, safety glasses, throw them to the side. You don't want that junk. Just slows you down. So anyway, all right. So we got 80 1/8, 32.5. Since we're using this square, it doesn't go all the way across. I don't necessarily trust that this stuff is 100% square in the first place. What we're going to do is pull from the end a couple of different marks so that way we can line that square up with those marks, trace a line. So first one we'll do is 80 1/8 inches. Come down here, 80 1/8, put this mark, move this tape out a little bit, 80 1/8, put this mark, do it one more time out here, put this mark. Now you come over here, line your square up with those marks, strike you a line, line it up with that mark and your other mark, strike you a line. We'll go over there and finish the rest of it. Now, this corner over here is a little messed up, so I don't want to use that. So we're going to pull from this side that way. This will be our drop section over here we won't use. So pay attention to that whenever you got lumber. Sometimes you get some stuff that isn't all that good. So 32 1/2 inches out here. 32 1/2. Same song and dance. Measure it in a few spots. Take your square, line your marks up. You got to make sure that your lines or your marks are close enough together. It's not too big for your square. If it's too big for your square, obviously that's not going to work out too hot for you. This last little section here, we just line all this up just like that. That's the scrap piece. That's scrap piece. This is the piece that we're keeping. So here's a circular saw and get this cut. All right, now that we got that all laid out, got a circular saw, go ahead and cut this. So exercise extreme caution when you're using these things. They will hurt you. They are not toys. I put my safety glasses on. I was just joking around earlier. Can't do a whole lot in life without eyeballs, so make sure you wear your safety glasses. All right, here we go. All right. Here goes nothing. Hope this goes in pretty easy. Nobody likes fighting with things overhead. This is making me a little nervous. This is going a little too easy. A little leery about it. I don't like it when things go this easy. It makes me nervous. Had one screw here that was in the way, so I thought, well, let me take it out right quick. Can you see that? Everything's all rusted and trashy. I'm gonna go get the screws. Let's try this out. All right, so what they had on it before was deck screws. That's what we're gonna go back with. I have a sneaking suspicion that these screws are not going to want to go through the metal. That one did, but I got lucky and made it on a hole that was there from the last time. Pretty certain that if that wasn't there, that wouldn't have happened. Maybe loosen that up just a tad. That way we can maybe work this around a little bit. That looks pretty good, actually. Not complaining about that. Even if you did, nobody would care. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. I like it. Sweet. So I'll probably get a small drill bit and drill up through here and, you know, a handful of spots as a starter. That way that, I don't know. I don't think that deck screw is going to go through that aluminum. It might. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't feel like jacking with it. So I'll just do a small drill bit, drill some pilot holes in it. Just call it a day. Shoot them up in there. We got a plastic piece that's got to go in here too. That might be interesting. There's a black plastic piece that goes over this, slides in. So we'll see how well that works. But let me go get a drill bit first. Drill a couple of holes in here to get this held up. We'll slide that plastic piece in, and then we'll shoot them all the rest of the screws in there. So I'll be right back. All right, here's that piece of plastic that I said was up underneath there. I have a feeling that this here is gonna be easier said than done. Might have to go up there inside the camper, pry up on this so we can get it in. Well, that ain't worth nothing. Thing fell out. Yeah, we pry up on it a little bit. Definitely in the middle, about pretty good in the middle. This end over here has already got a gap. So looks to me this end right here will be the only one. And I think I can get that because I can pry down on it a little bit. I don't want to get carried away with it because I'm prying on this, but there should be a metal cross beam in there, I think. This one right here is going to be the one that's a pain. I kind of wondered, I was like, yeah, do you think that I should slide this plastic piece in before I put the plywood in? And I was like, nah, be all right. And then I kind of thought, you think I should glue this to that plywood, slide it all in at once? And I was like, no, because, you know, if I ever have to do this again, you know, I don't want this stuff glued together because that'd make it like impossible to get apart. And now I'm like, you know? Oh, goodness. Oh, there it went a little bit. Went all the way to the bar. That's good. Better than nothing. Problem is, it needs to go that way. Let's go that way quite a bit. That's not too bad. It's about perfect. It just needs to go in. All right, so I just had Christina help me. She ran in there, took the pry bar, pried up on that. I was able to get it shoved in. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. So now what we're gonna do is take that drill, shoot some pilot holes through here in a few spots, and then run screws up through this plywood into the that metal framing to hold it in place, and then we'll start putting all these trim pieces back on and whatnot. So let's get after it. trying to see kind of where the old ones were. There was one there, one over here. Kind of try to put them back where they were. All right. Just put a few down this side, a few down that side, and I think we'll be ready to gotta clean these angles up from the previous use. And out here, all that goes in is these angles. There's an angle here and an angle over there, and then this outer piece right here, all of which was siliconed before. You can see all this. We're gonna have to cut all that stuff off, get it all cleaned up, and then put it back together. It's gonna be a kind of a tedious process, I'm sure. Everybody loves getting silicone off of everything. It's fun, real fun. I was toying around the idea before I put this board in, wrapping it with Gorilla Tape. So, you know, folding it over from the top around the side to the bottom to kind of, I don't really know what I thought I was going to accomplish. Nothing really, now that I think about it. It needs to be shingled. You know, water needs to come down here, and then this piece needs to be over the top of something. But unfortunately, you can see right here, that's just not how it is. And it's the same way right here. This piece is here, then the next piece laps over the top of it, and then you're relying on a bead of silicone right here to seal that up. And that's just not a very good thing. So, silicone leaks over time. But I did have some butyl tape. I'll have to look for it. I'm sure that I've got some more. I just don't know how much. I think butyl tape would be good for this. Put a little bit of butyl right here, then put that piece on and let it all smash, you know, up against there. And then silicone over it whenever you're done. I think that would probably be the better way of doing this. I don't really think there's any real great way of doing it, but if you had to pick a way, I think that'd be about the best. So anyway, I'm gonna shoot some more screws in this stuff right quick, and then we'll get after putting all this junk on once I get it all cleaned up. All right, y'all. So it is now this evening. It's actually about 10 o'clock. 11 after 10. We had dinner with some friends this evening and whatnot. So I ended up shutting down a little bit early outside. It's dark now, so we'll finish that in the morning. But tonight, we're going to go ahead and get this stuff in here taken care of. We'll get insulation put in here first on both sides and the ceiling, and then we will put up the paneling. I'm going to cut the paneling outside for obvious reasons. There's not a lot of room in here, and I really don't want sawdust everywhere and whatnot. So when I cut the paneling, it'll probably be off camera because lighting's not all that great out there. And, you know, it's dark. So anyway, not much to say about this. It's a rigid foam insulation. These I don't really know. Oh, man, we'll just call them studs. I guess that's basically what they are. These aluminum studs in the wall here are 1.5 inches thick. So I got 1.5 rigid foam insulations, R value of 7. I'm going to cut that, put it in here in the walls. What I'm going to do to hold it in the walls, I've got a roll of Gorilla Tape. I'm just going to tape across the face of it, to hold it in. That's all I'm going to do. And I've got some spray foam for the small. We've got a couple of them that are only about a 1/2 inch apart from each other. I don't really think it's worthwhile to worry about cutting a little sliver of stuff to put in there. I'll just spray foam it. All right. I've got that on both sides. So, I'm going to set you guys up on hyperlapse, and you guys can just watch this in a sped up process of me getting this knocked out. I'll move the camera around occasionally as need be, but anyway, other than that, that's what it's going to be. So you guys sit back and enjoy, and hopefully we can turn about 2 hours worth of work into about 2 minutes worth of watch time. So sit back, watch it. Hopefully I pick some decent music for you. All right, y'all. Welcome back to day 2. I started trying to do this last night. I was just going to cut them off camera, take them in there and put them up. And I cut one, and I struggled to see what I was doing. I had some lighting out here, but it was definitely inadequate. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll just hold off and wait till tomorrow before I tear something up or, you know. So anyway, here we are. So we already cut the piece for the ceiling. Now this is the piece for the back wall. The back wall measures 58 tall, 76.5 wide. This is a 48-inch sheet. Obviously, it's 4 foot. So we need to cut another piece that is 10 inches by 76. So that scrap piece there ought to do. So this here will be the top piece. That scrap piece will be the bottom piece. So that way, if there's any mismatch, it'll be hidden because it'll be underneath the bed. You won't see it. I just want to panel it all the way down. I don't really know why, but I do. So, anyway, here's one piece. We'll get the next piece set up here, drawn out. (76.5 inches). Same thing down here. 76.5 inches. And now I'm gonna go double check this just to be certain, but 10 inches should be the measurement for this. So I'll go ahead and mark it out because I'm like very certain. But before I cut, I will go double check. You know what they say, measure twice, cut once. But if you measure once, you're gonna cuss a whole bunch. So, you know. All right, I'm gonna go pull some measurements right quick, and I will be right back. All right, well, I was right. It was 10 inches, but I was wrong because it was 10 3/4. Probably a good thing I wasn't measured that. Scribble out that line. Put us a new line at 10 3/4. (10 3/4). And you know, this is going to get trim. So you can get away with some discrepancies. You can't get away with big ones. 3/4 inch might have been too much. But when you're cutting stuff like this, if you're putting trim up, you can be a lot more loose with your cuts, you know? Like this is supposed to be 10 3/4. Well, if I cut it at 10 5/8, you know, it's a little short. No big deal. It'll make it easier to get it in place. It's not going to fit so tight that you can't get it in where you're trying to go. And you're just going to cover up that little gap with trim anyway. So who cares, you know? So keep that in mind if ever you go to do a project like this. And just because we're doing this to a camper really doesn't make a lot of this much different than a house. Obviously, there are some substantial differences between a camper and a house. I don't mean to sound like there isn't, but what I do mean by that is if you're putting paneling up inside your house, you're probably going to do it the same way that we're doing this. And the same rules apply. You know, if you need to cover up a gap or whatever, you just use some trim. That's, after all, that's what trim is for. Trim's not there to be decorative. I mean, we make it decorative, but trim actually has a purpose, and that purpose is to cover up cut lines, you know? So that's what it's actually made for. All right, we got this laid out, we'll cut it. All right, so here we are back in the camper. We still got a couple more pieces to cut, but we need to pull some measurements first. So this is obviously a window, if you couldn't tell. And there's a frame around this. Well, we need this paneling to go behind the frame, but it can't go too far, otherwise the frame can't go on. And if you don't cut it close enough, then it's going to be hanging out and you're going to see the gap. We don't want that to be the case either direction. So we have to pull some measurements first. So what I'm going to do is get my phone out and draw a little picture. Now, you could do this with a piece of paper. I just don't have a piece of paper. So what we're doing here, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but essentially here is the window, okay? Just like that. So I need a measurement from this wall over, and then I need a measurement from the floor up. But here's the trick. We can't rely on the fact that this is square, okay? More than likely it's not. So we're going to at least pretend like it is not. So we'll have to pull some measurements from a couple of spots. And what I mean by that is we'll come over to this corner of the window right where the radius stops and it flattens out. And let's pull us a measurement. So to right here on the windowsill or on that framing, it looks to be, well, hold on. That's actually a lot. I took the windowsill loose and I shouldn't have taken it loose yet. Let's put it back. We need to make sure that the windowsill is where it's actually going to go. All right. Now we know that the windowsill is where it's going to go. Screw holes are lined up, or at least lined up good enough. Now we'll pull measurement. So, looks like 27 inches will get us behind it. So I'm going to write 27. And now we'll come to this side, do the same thing. See, over here it's 27.25. So if you would have just went with straight 27, wouldn't have worked out too well. 27.25. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing, pulling from here over. I don't like how this paneling is not. I was hitting a nail. I missed a nail. That's the problem. Let's see if I can pull it out. Much better. All right. Need to make sure the paneling's flat up against the wall, otherwise your measurements aren't very accurate. All right, so up here at the top, push it all the way in. Get about 2 3/4. Down here, also 2 3/4. So I'll just write 2 3/4 for the whole thing. Now that we know that, we'll take a full sheet, which is 48 inches. So it's going to come to right here. We'll lay all this out and get it cut. We'll go outside. I'll take a full sheet. I want it to be oriented the same as these, so I'm going to turn it sideways, okay? And then I'll pull these measurements on it sideways, coming up. And then we'll make our marks for the bottom of our window and the side of our window, and then I'll actually take this window frame out there and I'll lay it on those marks, line it up, trace around it, and then we'll remove that, and then we'll cut around them marks. That way then it's right. Oh, another dimension, which I pulled earlier, but I'll write it down because we've already proved that my memory isn't all that great. 27.5. Just check this as well. Yeah, I think 27.5 would be sufficient on that. 27.5 inches. Okay. Let's go outside and get this rolling. All right. It's the moment of truth. I'm gonna start hanging some of this stuff. Here I've got this here's just liquid nails, subfloor and deck. I don't know how well y'all can see that. That's all it is. They had all of the original stuff glued to these cross members here, so we're gonna do the same. While I'm thinking about it, and I forgot to measure this, I'm glad that I saw it. Sitting at about 9, 10, 9, 5, 10. That's where some lights go in this ceiling here. I needed to measure that and forgot. This one here is 9. Also by 10. Good. Awesome. All right. So now we got that taken care of. So I most definitely recommend eye protection for this step of the process. If you don't wear it at all, you should probably at least wear it now. We're about to be driving some nails and with a nail gun, so that could cause all kinds of flying debris, other nastiness that you don't want no part of. But anyway, I'm just going to put some of this liquid nails once it comes out. On all of these studs or rafters, whatever you want to call them. This right here is mainly, the nails are good, but this thing, moving down the road and whatnot, will probably eventually work the nails loose. Then your paneling would start to sag. We don't want that. Plus, hopefully this here will make installing the paneling a little bit easier, because hopefully the paneling will kind of stick to this and will help to kind of hold it up there on the ceiling while I nail it. Since I'm doing this by myself. All right, there it is. The moment of truth. Let's see how well this goes. Don't really have any good place to hang this on. It'd be real nice if I had a pouch or something. Really don't feel too comfortable just necessarily sticking it between my legs. All right. Slide this back. Looks like it's fairly well centered up. So. Blew that nail completely through that. Good strike. Trying to line it up, make sure that I don't miss that rafter. There's not really a whole lot there to aim for. Turn the air pressure down on this thing a little bit. I really, really do not want to overdrive nails. So if you do, and I miss one of these rafters, then I run the risk of sending a nail through the roof. And we don't want to do that. Then you almost got to ask yourself, am I doing more harm than good? All right, there it is. I knew I was about out of nails. I knew it. I just looked at it a couple minutes ago. Did I load them up? No. How on earth would I do that? Makes way too much sense. All right, let's try this now. All right. Well, hopefully, this thing will hold for a second. What's going on, everybody? We're back. So I went ahead and cleaned up in here and laid this couple little sections of floor right in here. There ain't a whole lot to that. So now, fixing to build a bed frame. We're not gonna get crazy with this. Just build it out some 2x4s. So first thing we need to do is find the center of our opening here. So that is 76.5. Divide that by 2. Should be, where's my pencil? In my pocket. 38.25. It should be. Put a mark right there. Double check my math here. I'm pretty sure that that's what it'd be. 76 1/2 inches divided by 2 equals 38.25. I don't know if you can see that, but 38.25. So that's where we're at. Now, need a bed frame to be 52 inches wide. So half that would be 26. So let's do 26 right there. And then 26 this direction. Put us right here. Cool. So we done that. We'll take a level. I already measured our bed. I want it to sit just a little bit below this window here. All right. I don't know how well you feel like I'm in your way, but maybe you can see. I want it to sit just below that, about an inch. So I measured that down to the floor. I need 12.5 inches is where the bottom of my bed needs to be. So that's where the top of the frame needs to be. So that's right here. It's 12.5 inches. I put a mark right there. We're going to take a level and put a line across here. So when we put a 2x4 up against there, we can level that 2x4, right? So, just to my surprise, this trim seems to be running fairly true. Right there. So we got us a little line. We can put our 2x4 up and line it up, okay? All right, y'all, the camera died. I did a little bit of work before I realized. You can see it's not a whole lot different than whenever you last saw it, but it's a little bit different. Anyway, so then went and ate dinner, gave Sis a bath, laid her down, had to do some stuff right quick. It's dark outside now, so we're going to carry on. I've started cutting trim. A little bit leery about the trim because of how the nail gun was acting earlier. I hope that it's actually going to drive nails, not, you know, send them in all wonky and whatnot. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let's get started. I got the first two pieces of trim ready to rock and roll, and we'll keep going at it. I've got the miter saw set up out in the garage, so I'll just pull measurements, come in here, put it up, go out there, cut, come back in here. I'm not going to move the camera back and forth though. I'm just going to leave it here. So anyway, not too interesting cutting trim. So anyway, we'll carry on with this thing and see how she looks whenever it's done. I'm excited. I'm really excited to get this project behind me. Plus, tomorrow's my last day at home. We got to leave, head out to the next one. So anyway, let's get this rolling. All right, here we are with our first piece of trim going on this side. Looks decent. Obviously, we got trim that needs to go down right here, but looks pretty good for where it's at. I like that. What do you guys think? Look pretty good? Anyway, let's see how this nailing adventure goes. First nail in. Dry fire. There it went. Trying to adjust the depth of this a little bit. All right, here we go. Yeah, that went in great. Kind of see the nails still, but that's all right. We can drop them later. So now, let's see, I don't know. Trying to get you guys in a good spot to be able to see this is kind of a pain. It's kind of tight quarters. So now we need to run trim from here over to there. So this doesn't have to be exact. The bed's going to cover all this. You're never going to see it. Really don't even know why I'm trimming this out, to be totally honest with you. But it looks like we need roughly 17 inches of trim with a obvious miter cut in it, cutting 45 on it, So we'll go get that cut. Be back here in a minute. All right, here we are back. Here's a piece. Look at that. Not quite perfect, but pretty good. It'd be pretty perfect if that wire wasn't sticking out through there. But anyway, whatever. Shoot a few nails in her. Oh, that's a dry fire again. There it is. Beautiful. Looks great. All right. Let's cut this piece of trim. This is probably going to be... Actually, you know what? I think we should do the top trim first. This camera. Watch out. All right. This, I'm going to lean you back. Top trim up there. Going across right here. I think we should do that first. Mitering these corners is going to kind of be a bit of a pain. But anyway. We'll get her figured out. It'll be no thing. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. All right. I'm going to measure these. Get some cut. Come back. Hang them up. All right, while I was in there, I went ahead and cut this piece of trim too. So go ahead and get it put up here. Let me move you guys so you can see this a little better. Hopefully that'll get you. I hope you like my sound effects. Ooh. What is that? Center in all crooked. Ta-da! There she be. Now, the unfortunate part is I don't have enough trim. I don't even have enough to do that. Yippee. I love it when I run out of things. Well, okay. I don't really want the night to be over yet. I'd like to utilize this time, so I think we'll cut the, yeah, it's better. I think we'll cut the plywood that goes on top of the bed here and get that all put in place and ready. Well, I guess we can secure this, all this stuff on the, like the fascia to the slide, if you will. Yeah, I can do that. That's what I'll do next. I'm going to get geared up for that. So let me go get a real nail gun and we'll get after this. All right, y'all. Ready to put this stuff up. Got a real nail gun now. It's red. It says Milwaukee. As far as I'm concerned, it's the only tool that there should be. Anyway, so put this rig back up here like such. Pound a couple of nails in her. Oh yeah. I have to turn her down a little bit. Not that much. All right, there that is. Now we'll go get the other side, get it ready to rock and roll, slap it up, and then we'll put this top piece in. Pulled the nails through. Wow. Maybe I shouldn't shoot them so deep. try this again. Turn the nail gun down a little bit. Oh, Lord, them things are in there. I blew right through it. Turn the nail gun down just a tad. Try this again. All right, now that that's up, we're gonna go get the hole saw set. I got a hole saw set and punch the holes in this new ceiling plate or paneling here so we can put our lights back up. Had 2 lights, one here and one over there. So we go get the hole saw set, we'll punch them holes and then get that set up. That'll be about it till tomorrow. I'll wake up bright and early, run to Menards, pick up the remaining trim that we need, come in here, slap that together, get the bed drug back up here, put back in place, vacuum all this stuff up. Oh, earlier off camera. So as you can see, like back here in this corner right here, you got a top piece and then another top piece that come together, and then you got this vertical trim here. Well, that vertical trim, you know, you can't just like, as to my knowledge anyway, maybe you can, I don't do this every day, but you can't just miter it and then make this trim slide right up in that corner. That 3-way corner there is kind of a pain. So I broke out the old pocket knife and sat here, started whittling, you know, and shaped. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but I shaped this trim. It fits really good in them corners. I made 4 pieces, one for up here, one for down here, one for over here, and one for over here. So that way that all them trims will fit in. And what we'll do is just, you can probably actually tell on this side and down here, I've already nailed that stuff off. So we'll just, tomorrow, we need to put a piece in between. That's all we need to do. Yes, I know it's not going to look the best. You're going to have 2 seams there. Whatever. I don't care. We're not trying to, you know, it's not a spaceship. All right. It's not going to the sale either. You know, it's just, it's ours. We don't care if there's a seam here and there. Whatever. Not the most professional job. I don't do this every day for a living. I'm a welder, not a carpenter. So anyway, it's what it is. I'll get the holes all set. I'll be back. I'm going to recess that drill bit. I don't want it getting up there and tearing them wires all to crap. That'd be my luck. Holy cow. It's almost like we knew what we was doing. Do the same thing over here. You guys moved over here, maybe you can see a little bit better. Hey, and I'm going to take this time right now to say, for those of you who are still sticking around watching this video, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's a lot that goes into making these videos. These projects take like 5 times longer than what they would normally because you're videoing. You know, you're moving cameras, trying to make sure what you're doing is in the shot, all this other junk. And then not even including the editing that comes along with it afterward. So seriously, if y'all are still watching, I really, really, really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. You know what else would mean a lot to me? If you hit that subscribe button and the little bell notification thing, so that way when I post a video, y'all get a notification. You keep watching this junk. Whatever. I mean, do or don't, whatever. But I would appreciate that. So now we're going to lay out this next hole. Before, I had measured, it's 9 inches from this wall over, 10 inches from the face of this in. That's where the hole needs to be. So what I do here, go roughly 10 inches in, just pull 9 inches, put my finger there, right? That way I don't want to make marks all over the place. 10 inches is actually in a little bit, so let me come in. Let's see, 10 inches. I can put me a mark. I know I'm pretty close to the 9 mark. Pretty much dead on. Double check my 10-inch mark here. Perfect. Got us a mark figured out. Now, take this hole saw here, re-extend the drill bit. Drill bit needs to go through first, but once I get it going good, I'll probably pull the bit back in. I just don't want that bit going up there and tearing all kinds of stuff up. So, here goes nothing. Yep, I messed up. Okay, thankfully. Gotta slide that collar up, or otherwise this thing will just torque down on top of the this is a threaded part. I'll take it apart here in a second and show you, just in case you never saw one. But if you don't slide that up, boy, it can become a nightmare to get off. This wood paneling really clogs up these hole saw bits too. You gotta stop, clean them out. They don't want to go all the way through it. One. If I can get the other one pulled through. But we are right on the money. There it is. Here's our wires. Alright, let me show y'all this hole saw. Those of y'all who have not saw any. So, let me just unscrew it, I'll show you. How this works. You've got this piece that goes in the drill. You see it? That goes in the chuck of the drill. Tighten it down. Okay. This threaded piece right here is what your hole saw bit screws on. So you screw that onto there, thread it on. Once it gets tight or almost tight, this little collar has got these round locking pins here and here, if you can see that. I don't know how well you can see it. But anyway, they slide forward and engage this hole saw bit and these little notches. You can see them. That way the hole saw bit can't twist, right? Well, if you leave that slid down and you tighten this up, right, and you start drilling, This right here will get so tight you basically can't get it off. I mean, you'll be on it with pipe wrenches and all kinds of other junk trying to get it loose. Sometimes you actually destroy the hole saw trying to do that. And that's not good because hole saws are expensive, especially when you get up to bigger ones. I mean, this set right here, let me grab it. This set right here, the hole saw bits, I don't even know how many pieces there are, but there's quite a few. It goes up to like maybe 2 inch, maybe something like that. But this whole set, if I recall right, was like $80 or something. I mean, they're pretty high. So you definitely want to take care of them. You don't want to tear them up. And, you know, if you treat them right, it's something that lasts you for quite a while. So, whatever. Rant over. What's going on, y'all? It is now tomorrow, and we're finishing this up. So I ran to Menards this morning, picked up some more trim. As you can see, I've already started. Got some trim here, some trim over there. I have completed that trim, you know, finished getting it, and this trim over here, if you can see it. And anyway, so I've already been working out this morning, and I've got the final piece of trim to put here in the slide out. I had to cut these 1/4 inch strips out of some extra trim that I had to go in here because this whatever you want to call it, this paneling here is 1/4 inch thick, so I needed a filler so that way that would set down. The way that they had the trim originally in the camper, I built all this to the same size as what was original, and I should have brought this paneling out further and then just had a strip of trim covering it. The trim that they had was different than this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're making it work, is what I'm getting after. So anyway, we got to put these little pieces in as a filler, essentially, and nail the trim to it. So here we go. All right, now that that's up there, take the actual trim and put it in. Center it up. All right, y'all. This job is quickly nearing completion. All the trim is on, lights are up, bed frame's built, cleaned the place up, looks pretty good. So now, last but not least, we need to put the plywood on that goes over the top of this bed frame, and then we'll put the actual mattress on. So I'm gonna go grab the plywood, get it put up here. Let's get this job done. I'm about tired of jacking with this stuff. So glad to be here. Let me point the camera down a little bit. Maybe you guys can see a little bit better. Sure, something like that, I guess. I'll be right back. That's a wrap. Looks good. Now we just got to throw the bed up on top of it and call it a day. I'm so glad to be done with this project. This was supposed to be something real simple, and we're just going to change the floor out, go from carpet to this planking. And when we started pulling the carpeting up, we started finding water damage. And I guess that slide there had been leaking unbeknownst to us, but it wasn't leaking out onto the carpet. I guess it was leaking. I don't know. Anyway, so the floor itself here wasn't really basically nothing wrong with it. It was inside the slide. That was the problem. So anyway, should be good for another 6 or 7 months, hopefully. But I appreciate y'all watching this video. If you stuck around to the end, it means a lot. If you would please hit the like button, subscribe, turn notifications on. We post random content all the time. Sometimes it's cooking, sometimes working on the truck, sometimes apparently now working on a camper, traveling, going different places. I travel for work. So anyway, if that sounds like something you might be interested in, hit that button. I'd really appreciate it. But until next time, y'all, peace.